I want to welcome everyone for coming out tonight. We do appreciate this, and we hope to get feedback this evening, and you'll understand where council's at and make budget decisions. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. Yeah. And I'm going to hand it over to Deputy Mayor and
the Corporation, Council Corporation. As we work towards reconciliation,
thank you, Peter. And we were making changes to the agenda. For the approval of the agenda, there is inserted in your package, and I will be giving a presentation. And with the agenda, there was 2 documents that I have created for council, and it's basically the information from those documents on the presentation. So if I can get a mover and a seconder for the agenda, please, invite Councilor Pierce, maybe, if I can invite Councilor Curtis Spanish. Be it resolved that council this year by a team, and as presented by those in favor, and that is carried. And declaration of pecuniary interest and declaration of conflict of interest. I don't have any paperwork on that now. And any time council throughout the meeting, if this situation arises, you can. So our presentation is going to start. And I'd first like to just say a full welcome to everyone that's coming, and I want to start with the Township Capital Project. Just for people if they don't know, Eileen Singh is our CEO for the township, so thank you, Eileen.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to go through, we can just go on to the next one. I'll give a general overview of the 2 projects that are going to be discussed tonight. So the planning to succeed 2023-2027. This is our strategic plan, the township's first strategic plan. And this mission and vision statement is directly from the staff plan and what the township envisions and the township mission statement is founded on the belief that our purpose is to continually strive to improve the quality of life for our citizens and our visitors. It's equally important to the mission, the principle of responsible government and building trust within our community and investors. The vision statement is an affirmation of our goals and objectives. It sets the stage for what we will do and how we will do it. Our vision for the future builds on our mission statement and embodies the desire to govern responsibly, build trust, and enhance quality of life for everyone. So the core values are again from the strat plan. These core values are our beliefs, guide our actions, and our statement about who we are as a municipal government. Our core values also confirm who we are as a township council, staff, and volunteers. The values remind us of how we will administer our affairs, deal with issues, or respond to people, and essentially guide our day-to-day as well as our long term. So this is just the current term of council, as you can see. And I'll go right next to the first project that will be discussed, which is the 3rd Avenue infrastructure. So moving into the background and context, we received successful funding from the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ISIP, through the Green Infrastructure Stream for the 2021 intake, and it was labeled as the Hornepayne Drinking Water Distribution System. And that included the many items listed on the slide, such as replacing approximately 1,100 meters of water pipes and repairing approximately 1,100 meters of pavement. The next background and context slide just indicates that the ISIP application detailed a total project cost of $4,999,599.36, with the township contributing $1,350,293.15, and the balance of $3,666,206.21 being provided through the federal and provincial governments as per the allocated amounts indicated. It's important to note that the ISIP program doesn't cover costs. Therefore, these costs are estimated to be an additional $900,000. However, to cover these expenses, in addition to the ISAC funding, the township plans to use $1,306,996 from 6 years of accumulated OSIP FC funding and $347,919.78 from 5 years of accumulated NORDS. The next slide is a summary of the site servicing options comparison from the consultants for the third act project. And I'll go through this, but if Jen can just move to the next slide, please, just so there's a visual of the two options. So the first option is rehabilitation of existing roadway. That consists of straight rehabilitation of the existing infrastructure, including water main and sanitary sewer replacements, with a new paved roadway consisting of two 3.5 meter lanes, as well as two 1 meter paved shoulders. This essentially matches the existing platform width and results in a widening road. It also includes the replacement of several roadway culverts, along with a significant amount of ditch cleanup to reestablish positive drainage. The total construction cost estimated by North Rock for option 1 is $2,900,000 plus contingency and contract administration fees. And just to note that the option 1 and 3 cost breakdowns will be on the next. Option number 3, the widening, which is widening to accommodate paved walkway. This option has kept the fundamental points of the water main and sanitary sewer items the same as within option number 1, but this option also includes the widening of the road platform from 9 meters to 10 meters. Will extend the road platform from the existing two 3.5 meter driving lanes to one 3.5 meter lane and one 4 meter. Additionally, the north side of the roadway will include a 1 meter paved asphalt shoulder, while the south side of the roadway will include a 1.5 meter wide walk. This option also includes the replacement of several driveway and roadway culverts, as well as the addition of geodetic ditching to realign the ditches to account for the expanded road platform. It's important to, furthermore, it will include the relocation of a select number of utility poles to incorporate for the new ditch line. The total construction cost estimated by North Rock number 3 is $3,400,000, plus the contingency and contract administration. On this slide, you can see the breakdown. Option 1, plus the contingency fee of $290,000. And then at the bottom there is the contract administration. And the same thing for option. So North Rock had advised that should council choose option 3, there would be an upfront and immediate savings when reducing the platform width of about $45,000. There would also be savings associated with ditching and further granular materials when constructing the new course. And savings also associated with fewer utility pole homes. North Rock can further look into this should council proceed with option 3. However, they can't really put a value on this until they run through the design for the reduced platform. We can move to funding contributions. So depending on the option chosen by council, these are the amounts that would be used for each funding stream listed for each option. There would be no debt for option 1 and $487,732.71 for option 2. For this slide, the treasurer had indicated to council in previous meetings that these long-term financing options are the worst-case scenario should council wish to finance the debt of option 3. The best-case scenario for option 3 debt, the debt from option 3, is that the township can use the future allocations of the OSIP FC funding from 2024 and 2025 to pay a portion of option 2. So these are the implications of each option in regard to taxation, water rates, and sewer rates. And at the bottom of the slide, there's an indication of what a 1% increase looks like. I just wanted to also mention that This presentation is on our website. It's part of the agenda, so there's further detail. You can access the presentation online through our website, and also all of this information is in the Treasurer's 3 reports that were provided to Council on May 1st regular meeting of Council. And so more details can be found in those 3 reports as well. And should anybody have troubles finding that, feel free to contact. And so we now move on to our question and answer period. And Mayor.
Just want to say thank you to those that the questions that did come on online. We tried to publish the agendas early. Well, they were supposed to be up 5 days before the meeting on Friday. And this gives the opportunity for staff to research to try and bring you the answer. And there is opportunity tonight to answer or ask questions right on the floor. So I'll start with the questions that were asked. And these were submitted from Mr. Willie Levitt. The 2 questions are, what will be the total increase in taxes if all these projects are take place? Why the urgency? The second question is, why the urgency in repaving? There are many other locations that are worse, like Front Street. So in response to the first question, although that we've shown you what it could be to afford Third Ave, what it could be to get debt and make that debt out of your tax base. We can use OSIP dollars to pay debt. We cannot use, and you'll see that in my part of the presentation, what you're allowed to use Ontario community infrastructure dollars for. You're not allowed to use it for operating. You can't use it for the arena. It's really for bridges, roadways, waterways, sewer systems. And this project would qualify. So hence why you saw in the presentation that we saved OSIP dollars over many years. And then the NORDS funding, which came out as a bonus funding from the Northern Development for Ontario, and save that as well, so that we wouldn't incur that. So it's not necessarily that it would be a tax increase, it's looking at how do we manage all the capital projects that we are going to have to do in the next coming years in Hornepayne. And why did we pick Third Avenue? So Hornepayne has been actively involved in asset management and providing what our resources are at, where our infrastructure is at. And Third Avenue is a main pillar of water and sewer in our community. And you can see by how many times it's been dug up that we pay for those individual digs. So when deciding which roadway to choose, that was the decision making in the background. Was this would be the biggest cost savings for our community, and then you don't have to pay those digs every year. And we budget $100,000 every year for emergency water digs, which is a lot of money, and we don't want to incur debt for those emergency digs. So the hope is that after Third Ave is done completely, everything underneath the roadway will be fixed. The roadway is being constructed to handle the loads, and I think it's a very good project. We asked North Rock when they were at the town hall back in March, and then again on May 1st when they visited us. And I'm very happy with the construction project that they put together. So those are the 2 answers there. And I also would like to note that we aren't forgetting about Front Street or First Street or Post Road or Leslie Avenue. Those are all streets that hence why we're having this discussion tonight, because the OSIP dollars can be used to pay for some of that debt if we were to incur debt for those other projects. But we have to be very strategic on how we use that spending so that we can get all our projects moving forward. And Leslie Street is actually part of the connecting links. And that's something that we'll be looking at within the next 5 years, because our bridge is still okay on Leslie Street, so that's better. And then we can apply for those funds. So we are strategically trying to see how do we get all the roads done with all the water. Thank you, Lily, for your question, and I hope that answers it for you. If you would like a further question, welcome to the
Mayor,
I really don't have a further question, but if you go back to the previous slide,
Sure.
what does your tax increases? You know, you're saying that doing these things up for tax increases, it would be in it. But yet I see that chart, and I'm not understanding when I'm seeing the tax increases over a 5-year period. Because the increase of water taxes 14%. Where's that coming from?
Yeah, so this chart is showing that if we were to not use those dollars at all to pay for the debt, if we were to say if we bought these charts are made off 187,000 for option 3. So if we were to just finance that, this is the implication. And I think it's very showing to show that because I'm not of the purview to put our township in the 30 years of debt. And when you look at option 5 years, so that's 110,000 for 5 years. If we can do the math pretty quickly, that's $550 we would pay out of our OSIP money. Whereas if we decide, no, you know what, we're going to take 150 or 175 next year and 175 the following year and clear that debt. Because with North Rock, 487 is going to, in our meeting, they said they should be able to not move more than 2 or 3 poles, but they did that quote on 15. So we are hopeful that it'll come in around 350,000. And so that's what we're looking at. So, and then it really shows what we deal with at council table. Like it's painful when we do budget because you can see a 1% taxation increase is only 22,000 to the overall budget, right? So I'm not in favor of putting our community at all in any debt until we have a strategic plan for the other roadways. And just like we did with this one, getting government funding and we pay our smaller portion. Okay, no problem. Any further questions on the Third Avenue project? And we do want to hear the difference from yourselves of what you think of widening the roadway. Because that's what we've had this discussion at council table. And if we, one of the concerns we have, I know I personally have, is if we don't do the widening now, it won't get done. We'll be living with Third Ave as is, not brand new, as it's been for at least 15 to 20 years. So that's what we're looking at tonight. And I really do, we really are here to listen to what your concerns are and what would you like to see your community as. And we'll have, if there are no further questions, we can continue on. There's going to be opportunity for more questions. We're going to talk about more things, and I have no problem coming back to the Third Avenue project if someone has a further question. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Sue. Yeah.
Why does Third Avenue need to be widened?
It doesn't need to be widened. What we're looking at is if you want to make your community basically what it is, it's for attraction, for economic attraction. So the widening would be first and foremost for safety. It's our main artillery up to the arena, which now is looking at becoming a community hub. So it would offer space for people to walk safely and on one side of the road. And we did, for people that don't know, we did have an option too, putting in a sidewalk on the north or the south side of Third Avenue. And the price was just, it came in at 1.77 million. And further that, you have to get specialized equipment to take care of sidewalks. So in our community improvement planning and in our looking at how to create our community more walkable and livable and just better for everyone, not just vehicle usage, that would be the recommendation to widen, and we don't have to buy specialized equipment. We can use our current plows and everything to clear that extra space on the road. So it's basically a balance between not having sidewalk, but you have still a safer roadway for pedestrians and strollers and the people walking. So it's not, it's by no means a necessity, but when we're looking at being attractive to people, that's where it comes in, and then safety. Go ahead, come on up. Yeah, no, come on up. This is your community. And
I apologize if this has already been answered. I didn't read the material on the website ahead of time, and I missed it. For that full CIP funding is we have to apply for the guaranteed or
yeah, so the province saw the need in 2014 that municipalities need help to upgrade their infrastructure. So they created the fund. Over since the funds they created, ours has increased every year. This year it was at 387,000, I believe, and the hope is to keep increasing it. And yeah, so it's not something we apply for; it's a funding allocation. Thank you for your question, and thank you everyone who come.
So the third act currently isn't paved shoulders.
No, there's a space that's you can see that where the shoulder ends. There's a space there.
Okay, is there an option to operate that without using the one with shoulders and keeping it in place?
No, there wasn't.
Is there any discussion? Stated?
No, there wasn't.
Never seen paved shoulders.
Okay. No, we did not discuss that. Currently, my understanding of what option one is replaces everything that's there now. And that's what we,
that's option.
that's option one. So everything you see there now is what's there. So we didn't want to shorten, like, have less for our community. The second, I'm going to give opportunity for councilors to speak directly. And you're in front of me.
First of all, that is Sean.
Drago, sorry, it's really owl, so we can catch the recording if we could use the mic.
Thank you. To answer the shoulder, the main reason was for the earth beside it, the land will not, due to rainfall and everything else and snow as well, it will erode on the sides. The reason the third avenue was chosen, this is factual. In the last 6 years, we had 7 major breaks infrastructure, meaning the piping system. And every time you brought somebody in, you're looking at $8,000 to $12,000, $15,000 per workload. More expensive, it actually happened. 3 of the breaks happened in winter time, and that was even more costly. So that's the reason that we're adding it. The more breaks than anywhere else.
Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, no, I was just, I thought I heard you say it earlier, but it's being exactly the same. That paved children. Isn't paved children, or it's paved children. So it's the exact same. Paved children. And then in response to that, that's good, and to the breaks. But it hasn't been any study done. State that they're figured out for all we know.
I want to reiterate, we follow asset management, and there has.
Sean was asking if you do read the details, and I don't know if people have seen it or not. I can sense, and for a good reason, that debt, common weather, doesn't matter how we pay it, option one will be debt free, option three will come out of costs and increase the taxes. And with option one, we do have paid for it.
Any further questions on the third out? And like I said earlier, we can ask questions about it again if we think it's something else. Okay. Let's continue on then, and I need you to present our next project. And we have the presentation now on the screen.
So the second capital project that we'll be speaking about, or that we'll be discussing, is the Hornepayne Community Arena Expansion and Upgrades Project. So the first background context slide, the township essentially applied to the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Programs through the Community Culture and Recreation stream. It was the rehabilitation and renovation intake for this project, which was done in 2019, and it was approved in 2021. The application included upgrading the lawn area, curling club and youth space, expanding the community center to add a seniors socialization space with a community kitchen, public library, fitness facility, and a multi-use gym / meeting space at a total cost of $4,682,237.02. The township would be contributing $1,248,752.61 to the project, and the balance of $3,433,184.41 would be approved by the federal and provincial governments through ICE. However, in 2022, the consultants hired JL Richards advised council that the project could actually come in at an estimated cost of $13,379,675, which was far above the initial identified cost of, again, $4,682,237.02. For the second slide, upon community consultation and various council discussions, staff submitted a project provision, so a scope change request in May 2023 to complete the project in various phases. The application, the scope change request was requesting for the ISA grant to be municipal to complete phase one at a total cost of again $4,682,000+, which includes items listed on the slide, such as a new 4,000 to 4,250 square feet in center addition, and renovations of the interior finishes of the main along with the others. Additional phases of the project would be completed in future phases as funds became available. In February 2024, the Ministry of Infrastructure approved the township's scope change. So this is the phased approach, and the scope change approval is only for phase one, which is the green. Yes, it's just the green area there. And then the next is a floor plan, and again, the scope change approval is only for the section. And then this is just a more detailed floor plan of option. I'm sorry, wait. So these are the long-term financing options for the arena project. Please note, again, all of this information is in the treasurer's reports, which were at the May 1st 2024 meeting. So they're online at the website. Further details are given in this proposed report. These are the tax implications of each option, or sorry, of this project. And again, the bottom indicates what a 1% increase taxation would be. So the potential next steps, council had inquired what the financial implications would be not moving forward with the project. We've already compensated J.L. Richards for the services they've provided so far. So that's a total of $127,733. And as per the terms of the ISAC grant, we would be required to repay any funds received for the project. So we currently receive $92,052 from the ISAC grant, that's what we end up moving. Council is also considering opportunities for fundraising and sponsorship, which the mayor will talk about after the question and answer for this project.
Thank you, Ellie. So yeah, so at this time, we'll open up the floor for questions and there are no questions at this time.
So just, sorry for the absent, I didn't start. I will try to recall. And then applied and then 2021 approved. And then for 3 years. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. Okay.
Sorry, I was just wondering. Thanks, Gary, for pointing that out. I just forgive my absent-mindedness. I said I see that it was applied for in 2019 and then finally approved in 2021. Again, here we are in 2024, and I just forget the reason.
Yeah, no problem. I definitely have an answer for that. So we were successful in 2021, and it was an exciting time for the community, but we were also in the middle of the pandemic. And we were trying to manage keeping our community afloat. It was a very difficult time, and we had the opportunity right until 2028 to do the project. It was just a challenging time. So when the project did reinitiate after we were able to get our forces back kind of half normal in 2022, which I wouldn't say it was normal at all still at that point, that's when we started continuing on the project. So when you look at an extensive project of this measure, you have to put out an RFP. That's usually a couple of months. Then you have to, it's usually another couple of months before the RFP is chosen, or who's going to facilitate for you. In this case, we chose J.L. Richards, and then they look at the project throughout 2022, and then realize the increases of what we were up against. The change of scope. That we just got that on February 21st of 2024 to allow the project to move forward. So with the initial project, had we not asked for a change of scope, we would have had to implement the project at $13 million amount, which seriously we could not afford, and those increases came due to the COVID pandemic. So hopefully that answered your question. Yeah. Go ahead, Matt, go ahead.
Just looking at all the work that you guys have done as far as all these projects, for the arena upgrade, Third Avenue, the ball field, all of that are really pursuits. But I think at the end of the day, what concerns all of us is what's going to be the impact on taxes. I mean, currently, we're paying through the nose, and in all these upcoming projects, that would be my concern. At the end of the day, what's it going to cost me?
Yeah, and it's my concern too. I just, when we look at tax rate and how that works, so we have assessment values and our tax rate. We don't have an increase to assessment. Assessment has been frozen since 2016. We know that when the assessment values come through for Hornepayne, there's probably going to be a significant increase to your property values. When that increase, if it does come to fruition, as the taxpayer, you have 4 years to come to the higher assessment value they incremented in. At the same time, at town council, we'll be looking at how do we manage so that we don't just set the tax rate and say, oh, we're going to spend, $3 million. We actually look at our expenses and our budgeting, and then usually try and cut as much as we can before we go to second levy. So it is going to be a challenging time over the next, I would say, 5 years of not so much tax increases to the tax rate, but trying to minimize the effect on each individual as these assessments change. And we have no idea at this point right now when and how we'll be doing their assessment. There's still components. In a positive note on that really is that it's a good thing when your properties are valued higher. It's a good thing for our community to have higher property values. That means that we can do something with our tax rate and lower it. It does not necessarily mean that your tax amount will go down. I just want to state that because one is increasing and one is decreasing. But it does help for investment. If you're trying to go after investment for businesses, right now it's very difficult to attract them. I am glad we have been able to attract businesses to our community, but into the future, we really have to figure out how do we lower our tax rate so that we can attract further investment. Hopefully that helps.
Kind of my biggest concern was with all these projects, how's that going to affect, never mind the impact assessments and mill rates and so on, but the additional cost of these projects, where is that going to fit into my paying the taxes? So of course, if the expenditure is there, money's got to come from somewhere, and it's going to come out of my wallet.
Right. The one thing about the Third Avenue project, that can be completely funded, even with the increase from OSIP dollars. And that doesn't come out of the tax. We can't use it for our operation. We have to use it for tax. And one of the thoughts I have on OSIP dollars is, although it's great to say that every year, I think that's good. We did a good thing there. But moving forward, we have to utilize it so that they know we're using it and depending on it. So that's what I had said earlier about being strategic about how we do these next upcoming capital projects. So maybe what I'll do now is there's going to be plenty of time for more questions, but I would ask the council to present a fundraising strategy for the arena project, because unlike Third Ave, the arena project cannot be paid with our OSIP dollars that we get every year. I can go to the next one. So I really just wanted to, we didn't have an election in 2020 or 2022, and I was acclaimed. And at that time, if you remember in 2018, I gave quite a significant platform, which I've been following since I got elected. And thankfully the council, they have been supportive. We've been working together, and I just want to give an outline of where my mind's at for our community and why I think fundraising would be the key option for the arena project. We have a momentum now that with 2028, we're going to celebrate our 100th anniversary. And if you can remember back to, we had hosted so many people in our community. And the one thing about fundraising is if we can reach a broader base to collect funds, it doesn't have to come out of the tax dollar. So, and when you saw it, Jen, if we could just go back to the last slide, right, one more, please. So this is very important because when we look at this, if we were to fund the arena expansion on the tax base, this comes right out of, this will be equivalent to your taxing. Okay, this is important. Whereas the arena project or the Third Ave project, not so much because we have some flexibility to use the OSIP dollars. So this is why I am very reluctant to put our community. I don't want to be signing a 30-year debt for a community. That's 8 terms of council that I'm going to sign for. And I just don't think that's prudent. I don't think that's the way we're going to see our community grow. And I would like to own a facility. I'd like to own the arena outright. So we can go back to my first, the next one, please, Jen. So I just want to take you through where we are, and I don't want you to think that I just, woke up one morning and, oh yeah, we can just raise, $2.3 million. I've done quite a bit of research on this. I was talking with Adam Brown just the other day because they're fundraising $2 million for their long-term care home, and there are possibilities. So I just want to take you through where we were, where we are now, the immediate future, into the future of Belmont, the fundraising strategy, and then the future municipal projects that we are going to have to look at, and what exactly we can use our also. So back in 2018, and I want to say too that all of these pictures that I took for this presentation were Google searched, because I'm constantly looking at what's our profile of our community to the world, because people invest where they see growth, where they see attraction, and they see planning. So back in 2018, we weren't in a good place, and it wasn't just necessarily the council of the day. Okay, we were dealing with the mall closure. It had been 8 years at that time. It takes a lot for a community to get over that. We were adjusting to, we remember the days, some of us in the room, where you didn't call somebody to go for coffee. You just walked downtown. You went and checked your mail, and the next thing you know, you were gone for 4 hours. You had all of this social atmosphere that we lost, and it took us a while to get through that. I think we are over that now. There's much more liveliness happening in our community, and I have to give a shout out to Region to the work that they're doing with all of the different events that are being created for our community, because that is actually termed as social capital. What does that add to the value of your citizens in the community? And I have to, you are very lucky in Hornepayne here, because you have a council that meets regularly. They are rarely missing, and this goes back not just this council, last council, like previous council, that they're there for you. They're meeting, they're looking at how do we make it better. So I have to say that, because it's sometimes I think we're at the end. I know I've stopped meetings because I'm like, we can't do any more decisions. Like, we have to defer these things because we're going to start to go to. So next slide. This is where we are right now. So we did have a strategic plan for my first term as council. This is what, and why are these important? The documents that are here, because those are the documents we use for funding. Those are the documents when people go on our website and they want to invest in our town. This is the information that they're looking at. And these three at the bottom, rebranding, marketing, market cap analysis, the business retention and expansion strategy, those are brand new. We just got them off our 15th. And it's amazing what's in there, the need that our community has. And now you can go, this is how we got the hotel. We used documents that we had at the time, and we showed what the current, our past hotel in the mall was revenue. And there was people that were able to take the data and go and find investors for our community. It was a huge undertaking that was done for our community. And the big thing about having this data, it really ignites the people who invest in our community. You think about that hotel, we have investors from Longlac, Hearst, and Manitoba in a hotel in Hornepayne. So I see using this, and I'm got the fortunate opportunity to go to SCM this year, which happens to be in Calgary, and I'll be visiting 2 other places that could possibly bring investment to our community. And that's the only reason, like, I'm banking it with SCM, but that's why I'm doing it. So when you look at the planning, so we're set up to really move with investment. And our community improvement plan, which will come into effect later this year, especially for housing. We had our housing symposium on May 11th, and the traction that we're getting now from that, we have, as many of you know, we didn't have the presence of Northern Credit Union at our housing symposium. They since have called us 2 different people from that banking institution to try and get on board with this, and they're coming to our community unit. So that housing, the housing portion of the investment of the community improvement fund is very, very good for anyone that's looking at building home in our community. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, so we have our immediate future. And when we look at the third act project, like I said, we can do the project completely debt-free right now, change it as is. We can choose to do the widening. It would take OSIP dollars from our next 2 rounds of OSIP dollars, and which we have not earmarked for anything yet. And then the community hub of the arena, that is where we really want to look at. Because that cannot come out of OSIP. We have to pay for rolling stock and improvements to our municipal buildings, either through one-time open funding, and we will look into that, anything that comes open, or the tax base. I'll talk about, so future and beyond, I just wanted to put this here is because these are all projects that we're looking at into the future that, and I'm not talking about, when I say beyond, I'm not saying 30 years. This is like right after 2026. Next slide. Okay, so I think there's a prime opportunity now because we're coming into our 100th anniversary that this would actually do really well. Next slide. So what I'm proposing, and this is just an idea approach right now, it would be fully implemented. There's much better experts than I in fundraising that we could use to ensure that we had a huge fundraising fund. But this is research. So it's a layered approach with pledge with recognition, community partnership, corporate sponsorship, and further funding opportunities. And by working together, we're looking at, it's actually a bit more than 2.3 million that we possibly raise. And I'll show you how this is done. Next slide. So the first one, this is pledge recognition, with recognition. So what we're looking at, and these numbers can change. The goal is, okay, can we raise 1.2 million? Because that's actually what we need for the arena. And that's our people. And this, you don't have to be a Hornepayner to pledge. You don't, it could be someone that lived here. And in the end, if we develop this model, we could have something like the Hollywood Walk of Fame with the stars, but maybe their bear paws or some sort of recognition at our 100 and have an unveiling of those areas with name plaques for families. And if like it could be built out that 4 people partner. So they're giving for a family, like myself and my 4 children. So we all partner and we give $250 a month between the 5 of us, and we get a bigger in the end. These are just right now. I'm looking for it is to support this when you're looking at a community hub arena, because the community hub is definitely not just for our citizens, but it'll be an economic driver and a social driver in our community. And then when you're looking at the matching gift programs, there are players that could match the pledges it's going to pledge. And this could be, like, you can play with these numbers. You could go after 250 pledges at $100. You could go after 750 at $25. Hopefully I'm doing my math off the top of my head. So that would be a pledge campaign. And we might, and we could adjust that. I went for 500 pledges because I thought it was doable. If we had, maybe 200 or 300 coming from our community and another 200 from outside. When you look at our Facebook pages, and I got to give out a shout out to Cindy Craig for the management of what she does for our community with classified Hornepayne happenings. If you knew you grew up in Hornepayne, there's like, I think it's over 2,000 or 3,000 people that are on that. So there are a lot of people that have lived in our community that I think would be on board. So that's, and I put that question out there because maybe I'm totally out left in. Again, and people wouldn't want to. So the next slide. So this would be in conjunction with community partnership. So when you look at the fundraisers, so I budgeted 5 at 8 per year. So over 4 years, you'll have $160,000 fundraised through that. And this would be anything from when the ball fields in, we have a ball tournament, hockey tournaments. We had a really successful, Kenny May put on a really successful hockey tournament in March. The other thing that we have to remember, let's input into this, is that we're going to have the hotel up and running now come September. So this can further enhance whatever we do for fundraising. So this would be other groups within the community that pledge that they're going to try and meet a target. It doesn't necessarily have to be 5,000, whatever those targets are. And then the other one, it was a community member that asked me. They had said, why can't we do one of those big 50-50 draws, or what the hospitals do, where that sort of thing. As a municipality, we cannot do that. We cannot do raffles. But we can partner with an organization that can do that. So I put this in here because at 75,000, if we were to do one a year, and maybe we continue them after, maybe they're super successful, but everyone in our community gets on board. And if you look at 5,000 tickets, I think it's 5,000 sold at $30, and then because it's a 50-50, so you're going to give away 75, right? And this can be orchestrated any way we want. Our goal is like, how do we come up with the 300,000 with the least amount of effort? Because if we're all selling tickets and they're available and it's a big draw, and the other thing too is, with this idea is we pick a date that builds our community. So if it's July 1st or New Year's, when the draw happens. So that's community partnership. And there are other ideas within all of these branches that I didn't. Next slide. Okay, corporate sponsorships. I kept this, I don't have a drink. I kept corporate sponsorship quite low. This is a very minimal estimate, because I didn't want to put it out there that we were going to get a bunch of money from business. But speaking with other people that have fundraised, corporations come through. I'll give you an example right now. Elliott Lake is fundraising, and they got some corporate sponsorships out of Toronto that have nothing to do with their community. So if you look at every organization that would assist Hornepayne or give Hornepayne any sort of service, all of those corporate organizations would help us out. So we're thinking Hydro One, not just our employers, but Hydro One, Bell Canada, all of that can be reached out to for corporate sponsorship. The other one was merchandise sales. I think this is realistic because I think that's a good goal to have, because we have our 100th coming up. We're going to be rebranding later this fall, and we can push our brand out there and be able to have those sales. And further funding opportunities. So when we're looking at the arena project, it's not just the arena doing the hub. We have to upgrade our curling club cooling system. We have other projects that need to happen, and I'm willing. You all know this. You see my social media. I'm out and about, and I will champion it wherever you send me. I'm not like, this isn't something that's just going to go on the back burner. I really, when I presented to council, I had said that it would be we could get an expert to make the plan. And the other part is that with Marathon, they have an actual fundraising coordinator that helps them raise that. So if you're looking at raising 2.5 million, the cost of hiring somebody at what I would say 200,000, that's definitely not. So, and these other areas, so the NOHFC, there's some opportunity with them. They have a community enhancement fund. It goes up to $2 million and you have to match it. So there is funds there that we would have to get further funds for. The Trillium, we are utilizing the Trillium right now for our vault, 150,000 for that. So any other further upgrades to the community hub, we would look at that as well. And then the Green Municipal Fund, we've looked at that at enhancing our ice service equipment because you can change up your ice and then use it for reheating and heating your other spaces in your building. So there are other options for the other capital areas that we need. So right now, I think if, because I'm going to talk about future stuff, but right now I think there'd be a great pause to have questions on the arena now that you're seeing where my mind is at. And if we can go back, Jen, to that last slide of the tax implications. So that's why, for the past, I'd say about 6 months of learning about fundraising, is I don't want to do this. I don't want to set our town up in debt. I don't want to hand over debt. We're dealing with, I don't want to see our tax increase. I want to minimize that. I want Hornepayne to be attractive, and being attractive is being affordable. And I know, like the rest of you, I am a taxpayer here, and I know what, and I've looked at the comparison with other communities. We need to get affordability. We need to have it brought into a place where we can compete. Because right now we have somewhere around, I think, 65 people that don't live in our community and commute into Hornepayne to work. And I don't want to see that continuing either. So if we go back to them. So anyway, I open up the floor, and this isn't something that a mayor and council does on their own. This is something that a community does together. And the end result is that we would own a facility, it would be ours. We could do a huge ribbon cutting at the 100th anniversary. And I honestly, I think we can do it. I think that the municipality and the people working together could pull this off. And it's not like, I know it seems like, this grand amount of money, but when you look at what communities do when they pull together, the CAT scan in Hearst, they raised 1.2 million in just over 1 year. The marathon, they're raising 2 million for a long-term care home. Elliott Lake's raising money for their arena. Like, there are ways that we can, and what fundraising does, it broadens the people that we can that can give to it, that can help us. So I open up the floor now for any questions or comments, or how do you feel about it?
So my question is, being what you have up there and being someone who volunteered my whole life in this community and seeing the burnout of volunteers, I think it's a great idea, but I think it's already putting a lot on people in the community. So I'm just wondering, who are you thinking is going to be responsible for getting this fundraising? Is it going to be your current town staff who, from my understanding, work their butts off every day and getting these grants? I don't want to see more put on them. So who is going to be doing all of this?
Yeah, so no, that's a great question, and I agree with you. This isn't something that the township staff can take on. The only, in the document that I proposed with council, I did put in there that we'd have a fundraising coordinator. There would be somebody, they would work actually, this was my vision of it, and really it's in the growth stages, right? What we want staff input on how it would best work for them. But we did create a CDAC committee, so it would work out of there, but with someone that's hired that would manage it. And like I said earlier, depending on what that is, when we're looking at fundraising this amount of money, no, this isn't something it can't go on the back burner because we need to keep raising it. And then we support the staff that's there. So, yeah, and further that too, I think I'd like to add is that we have to have discussions about how do we collect the pledges, because we don't want to be paying like GoFundMe. We don't want to be paying an outside vendor and taking our valuable dollars, right? So it's like we set up an account system, sort of like the water billing and that, so that people can see it in their accounting and that sort of. No, that's not my intention at all. I fully know it's the work that's doing, and it's challenging.
So would that coordinator position, would that be budgeted for, or is that?
Yeah, so if we were to go forward with the fundraising plan, it would all be within that fundraising plan. Like, so in the end, like, yes, we would have to put some dollars initially to hire the person, but then from that, that will be included in the whole fundraising budget that person. And that's not unusual to do it that way, that you pay for all your fundraising expenses with your.
Thank you.
No problem. And oh, I should add to that, sorry, David, I should add to that too. When you're looking at a fundraising coordinator, it's not just about what fundraising is happening at the township. That person could give support to the other community partners that are doing fundraising as well. Like, it's not just solely for, like, it would be for the whole project. Go ahead, David.
Thank you. Just timing clarification, I guess. The idea would be to go ahead with the project and then start the fundraising campaign. Or are you going to wait for the fundraising to raise the dollar before you start?
The first part of the question, yeah. First of all, if there's no buy-in for fundraising, this will come back to council, and I can't speak for council, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I won't be doing the project
Okay, so,
because I don't know how else we're going to pay for it.
okay, so your feeling, whether
Yeah.
council, maybe each of them can chime in. Is this either gets done through fundraising or it doesn't get done?
Well, I think that's a question that all of council has to decide. I'm only one voice. I wouldn't want to put my council unless they feel they want to chat about it. But I think it would be a fulsome discussion of how we're going to do it.
Perhaps some of the council have.
Yeah. Yeah. Peter, go ahead.
Good question, Dave. I fully agree with the mayor. We can't really miss. Taxes are very high, and we're trying to stabilize them. Maybe even get them to go down, which is next to impossible. Heck, with the way fundraising at all, we're going backwards.
But the total, you feel total amount must be.
Enough that's affordable for the community. So we have to look at that. Because obviously the price.
So we also have to wait and basically we're saying it would be a wait and see, get somewhere near that 1.2 million.
I think once we see what kind of community buy-in is too. Fundraising is a very hard job. We have a lot of people that don't call on people, live here, pay taxes. So it just depends on the buy-in. I think we'll know pretty quickly how the energy it'll generate. It's looking like it's not. The council.
I have to weigh out the pros and cons, and I have to see what everyone else wants to do. And I don't know, it's a big question.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for attending, and really appreciate you here in whatever the directions you gave us to follow. Obviously, listening to everyone so far, we have another option, option one, with the road. Zero costs. And the reason I was one of the proponents to elect that 1 meter was safety. Here 40 years, I'm surprised no child was sick in that road during the major time, we're leaving the school, especially with no buses. It's massive exodus of students walking in that area. That's the reason I like the 1 year. When I'm listening and hearing, we will not have that. We go with option one. There is no on the arena, respect to the arena. We discussed it so many numerous times, and yes, there was delays. But during the delays, also, the staff was asked numerous times to investigate every possible grant that was available. And all the time they came back, it was not applicable for recreation facilities, and that was a. We discussed arena for years and years and years. Either we do it now, we can't. And whatever the consensus is, again, it's the taxpayer rate from this community, and I'm one of them, 40 years. If you feel that we cannot sustain this project, I for one am going to. Fundraising, I can go to the mayor at the meeting, the number is massive to fundraise community. I fundraise in Timmins, in Hamilton. I've been there. It's not impossible. To have a fundraising coordinator, I have no problem. However, from my experience, the way they were paid, it wasn't outright upright. It was a certain percent of the fundraising money they fundraise, they get a certain percentage. So therefore, the taxpayer is not off for paying in advance for that person's performance, which has her performance. That's some of the areas I came in. So, but again, people are feeling, and whatever the council decides as a whole, which is
Yeah, thank you, David, for that question. And anyone that knows me knows I'm not in favor of debt. Incurring debt that's going to cost us a generation, to me, that I can't. So ultimately, it'll be the decision of what the taxpayers want. If they get excited about it, but I would be voting. See if we might put the same backs. I just can't.
One supplemental, what would be your timeline for determining you generated enough positive interest?
I want to see this, like the timeline would be over the summer. Like this is like, we want to move forward.
You want to have 1.2 million essentially committed by September.
Yeah, well, I think first is just rating the appetite for the community and seeing if there's, this for tonight, and then possibly, doing a survey and taking next steps. So we really didn't know until tonight to see what the appetite of the community was. So hence why we're here. And it's not something you want to delay on, because we have $4 million that like haven't been utilized. So yeah, so after tonight, we'll meet again, and I could see a follow-up to gauge a further audience. People hopefully they can see the video and hear about it, and just people in the room talking about it to other people. Like it's really about buying. If as a complete community, we don't feel we can do this, well, then we can't do it then. If we don't believe we can do it, I believe we can do it. I think we can do it. Our community has gone through a lot in the last 12 years. I see people in this community that want to see their community thrive and succeed. And yeah, so over the next course of 3 weeks to a month, to let people hear and see what the ideas are out there to generate this. And then from there, I think would be the next step would probably be a survey. We'll have to talk about that on the 19th of June and capture more feedback. No problem. Yeah, go ahead. Jim.
It's just a quick question. Asked me. These donations are pledges of someone. Just out of curiosity, would they be tax deductible?
Yeah, they'll be tax deductible. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Come on up, John. Nice to see you. Could you speak into the microphone just so we can capture it for the video?
Thank you for taking the question. My question is, third major project I'm talking about is the ball field. And it's not included with the arena portion. And I'm wondering how much it's going to cost and is it going to impact what we're doing?
Yeah. So we did go forward with the ball field at 220,000. And right now, it's not affecting this year's tax. It could impact next year's depending on what we do. What I would propose is that if we do fundraising, all of that into it, everything we do at the arena, like this 2.2 million actually gives us a buffer. It gives us a reserve for our arena budget so that we can tap into further funds within regions. Go ahead, yeah, interruption.
Draco, I just need some clarification. You said option one, but at council meetings, you said option three. Did you mean option three? Because you talked about safety and.
Right, what I'm seeing here, that there should be no increase in respect to the project. Yes, the project three, all the way through, the investment costs attached to the taxpayers increase. And hearing, that's not really well, so therefore, I would choose option one, it's 100% covered. Taxpayers, as far as the tax increases.
Okay, so can I have clarification? The last time the auditor was on, he said 25% of corn painters are not paying their taxes.
Mhm.
If we captured those 25%, would this be an issue for us having to choose option one over option three?
That's a really good question.
Well, like I'm just saying, like it's only 75% of the people are carrying the cost.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you there. And we do have to put further strategies in place. And I have had conversations with other municipalities on how they recruit non-paying. But just I want to clarify, for the Third Avenue project, there are ways that we could do the Third Avenue project without doing an increase to the tax. Because the OSIP dollars can be used for the Third Avenue. Okay, I just want to make that clear, and council will have a discussion on that. It's not decided one way or another. With collecting all of our taxes, yes, it would be a huge benefit to our community if everyone was paying their fair share. There's no, like, I can't say that enough. Just in the time and the effort that staff spends on collection and trying to get collection, and then the unfortunate times when people have to not have their home. Like, I don't want to do that to people. And, you know, and I would put it out there, there are many avenues to take. If you are in a position and not pay your taxes, do not let it get to that point. Come down and talk to us at the township. They can set up payment plans. They can do work with you in the background to make sure that you don't get that. And, it's not something I enjoy at all.
And Drago, I think you should stick with option three. For all the discussions that we've had, meetings and meetings and meetings, and I listened to most of them. And it's something Cheryl said, we have the opportunity to do it, we should do it. I mean, that's one of the things that you think we could wiggle our way somehow to make the least amount of tax burden.
Yeah,
It's like an extra 500,000, right?
right now it's sitting at 487,000. I'm confident that North will lower that by, we say, at least 100,000. Just from our conversation, they'll, like, when we move forward, whichever option we choose, we'll have to pull some amounts. And but yeah, I just want to reiterate, I don't want to put that at all for Third Ave. That is not my intention at all. I don't think anyone on council, that's our intention. We do not want to sign us up for debt. We have other things we have to pay for. You'll see it on the future projects. Like we have to do things with our fire department. We have to do, there's other safety concerns in our community, and dropping us into $60,000 a year for so many years for an extension on the roadway is not worth it. But because of the certain aspect of that particular capital project, we are able to use those dollars that we get annually.
Because if you can come up with 230,000 for the baseball deal, we should be able to somehow figure that out to have it.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to safety, I don't think we can put safety to this. The number of kids who go up and down. There's a number of kids who go up and down that street. I see them flying. The drivers are driving up and down. If we can successfully do that without incurring any tax increase in that, I think we need to pick that option. That would be it's the council and decide the way I would.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion on that? Like we're here listening. That's why we're here. It's really about the appetite of what we can do for our community. Maybe I'll talk about the future project. And I put these in here because although we have these two great projects to talk about today, there's many more things that we're going to be looking at, and why I want to highlight them and why we are so adverse to going into debt is we have, of course, the upcoming road project, which would be covered by OSA, in the sense of that we could pay for long-term debt with those projects. I want to highlight the Leslie Avenue. That is the connecting links funding that we can go after as soon as we're, our bridge is still okay. We're watching the deterioration on that, but it will probably be within the next 4 years that we'll go after that. The Hornepayne Fire Department investment, there is funding coming out later this year. We haven't heard what it is. We are looking at trying to hop on that as much as we can, because things like rolling stock and those sorts of items in your municipality, there's very few funding options available. There is a rolling stock envelope coming this year as well, so hopefully we're successful in either of those. And that's with the public works investment. We have our tourism strategy. We have not lost focus on the geographic center in Ontario. It got delayed, of course, because of COVID, and it's still a huge driver, especially now that we have a hotel and the snowmobilers coming back to our community, which they want to come back to our community. That's areas where we can grow and expand, and then implementing our marketing and branding implementation. And I put on emergency planning here because, and you always have to be ready for something that's going to come in your community. And I would like to see us get to a place where we're growing an emergency planning with it. Because if there's anything that has just highlighted our entire time on council, is the amount of emergency situations that we've had to deal with, and it can be. You can go to the next slide. So I wanted to highlight just what our Ontario community infrastructure dollars can be used for. You can see at the top, it's water, wastewater, roads, bridges, and culverts. They're eligible. And these are taken right from questions I asked. Loan payments and interest charges are eligible on core infrastructure activities starting after January 1st, 2017. And the other thing about that, why I asked that question is right now we pay about $68,000 a year for our water treatment facility, and we're going to be paying that for 2042. And my thinking on it was, well, if we can use those dollars and save that $68,000 every year, because at some point you have to use up your, you just can't keep banking it. So, and then this is the municipal Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing Reserve funds percentage for municipalities. And you can see down here that we're actually in a good position. And I do not want us to move from that position. I want to keep us in a good position. So I highlight that right now because as a municipality, there are a lot of things that our entire group, everyone that lives here, that we're doing right. So that's good news, because you can see down here, the populations of 1,000 or less in Northern Ontario, the median is 6.5 to 4.2. So we don't want to end up in that area. You want to go to the next slide? Well, we already did feedback in that, but you're welcome to come to the night for further questions or. And we will take responses through our email. If you have further questions you'd like that, or ideas or your feelings on this, we can watch it. Yeah, go ahead, Willie. Sure.
Let's see, just I've been to the site, you're presenting to me, but I'm just kind of wondering about our municipal office. And it's yeah, pretty story regarding our fire. I'm pretty sure that we just about do. And I don't know what about the rest of it. That's 2 years ago, saying that we had to update them. And the other thing I just thinking out loud is when we look at the public works department, the garage is probably due for a bit of an overhaul. And not only that, it's the equipment we have. Because I'm sure our loaders got 25 to 30 years old. Our grader's got to be hitting 10 or 12. Is there anything that's been thought of putting on the site to upgrade that in that place?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you highlighted all of those items, because those are the things that we sit at council and we talk about and we research and look into, and understanding how do we manage. We're waiting for more information on what's called an open loan, a rolling loan, because some with the Ontario infrastructure loans, once you're into them, you have to pay, like our example with our water treatment plant. If we were to pay that off tomorrow, we have to pay penalties. Once you sign up for those, you have to pay those payments. Like you're signing up to pay whatever interest you said you're going to pay. So we are investigating other avenues of debt or types of rolling stock, so that if we do have, say, a surplus, which we have had surpluses over the last few years, is that then we can put those, we can put them into reserves, we could pay off. We see that, and it's more open. We do pay a certain percent higher interest on that, but we are trying to come up with ways like what is the maximum amount of this good debt that we can have for to purchase these rolling stock type items. So yes, we did have lengthy discussions about our fire truck and our pumper truck with the fire department, and we put it on our budget. We need to move forward with that. And we're going to move forward first with the funding that's supposed to come over, right? We're going to try that first. But yes, and we also have talked at the provincial level with the government, because a fire truck in Hornepayne compared to a fire truck in Toronto, it gets much higher usage than our fire truck. But they're allowed to use it way beyond their kilometers and all of that. But because of insurance purposes and legislation, you end up with something that could possibly be upgraded and you're still not allowed to use it. So we don't want, so there's a spread across a lot of municipalities of our size throughout Northern Ontario and the smaller rural southern municipalities, saying like, why are we getting rid of a vehicle that probably was better made than some of the things that come out today, per se, and use that. So there's that's another avenue that they're looking at. But you have to still, it has to be a safe, it still has to be a safe vehicle. And you have to be able to utilize it, right? So, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Just wanted to know if I could ask something about the not necessarily building as specific capital project wise, but.
Question about something.
Wait, I
Answer.
just wanted a little clarification as to what was mailed out. Email. Yes, and with regards to the outputs of the activities. I found that partnership extremely confusing. And I was and by a lot of other people as well. That was trying to be said. And I'm sure I can understand and guess where going with that. Many assumptions. Just want some clarification.
Yeah, let's get clarification.
So I'm aware of the confusion. I haven't had a chance to address it today just because I've been in back-to-back meetings. The intent, this is the same notice we had last year. We had this field as well. The reason we have a permit to use it is because if anybody contacts the township and asks if they can put software on that, they say yes. So anybody and everybody can use it. Permit is just the township can advise the community that on behalf of the township, you can use that. It's an agreement with either ADS. Yeah. So it's for liability and insurance purposes. It wasn't meant to say that nobody can use it unless they have a permit. It's just indicating to the public that between July 2nd, or like this year, July 2nd to July 2nd to September, I think it's second. It's July 1st, maybe.
Second or first and second.
Yes. So for the summer, that field is, you can use it for non-contact students. So it wasn't meant to confuse anybody, and we just thought it was a great idea to put it on the back of a water bill because why waste that space, right? And we often hear that, oh, you know, we aren't aware of certain things, and it was surprising on my behalf to hear that it caused this much concern because it was the same notice that was put out last year. Except we didn't have a water bill going on at the same time, so we didn't put it on it. It was just.
I think I understood that. But it's true that for the fight. It's just the way that it is. Yeah. But thanks for the clarification. After the permit happened, everything from our little district school. Partnership agreement, did we invest anything?
It does cost, and it's very minimal. I think it's like either 100. I don't quote me. I don't know the exact amount, but it's yeah, it's nice. And I will be reaching out to the parties that reached out to me. You know, I'll contact them. I just haven't had a chance to.
Thanks for the clarification.
Any further questions? No, David.
Trying to wrap my head around this one. So traditionally, governments, federal, provincial, municipal, projects through. Right? That's how we got a water plant, that's how we got our sewers, that's how we got our origin, et cetera. And yes, it's costly, I agree. But as I'm thinking this through, council hoping that this can be, you know, full upgrade to the agreement can be paid for. And it's pretty clear that as a council, it seems like you don't want to borrow money for anything.
Oh, I don't necessarily think.
Okay, you're certainly averse to borrowing.
No, I don't think that's.
Okay, that's what I.
It's trying to be strategic of how we use the open dollars for, because
Yeah.
the main revenue are going to take over.
So, I mean, it was pretty clear the council was not on the. And that's, I think it's good, I get that, because we are unbelievably. But I'm just concerned that a precedent is being started with this council, future council, you can say, oh, we need something, get what, in fundraising. And we're not moving your tax dollars. And I'm just concerned that it's a little bit of a dangerous council to say, yeah, we want to do this arena thing, but we're not doing it unless you guys do it. I'm just concerned that moving forward, that's just going to become something, becomes more and more. And I think it's a very challenging amount of money to raise. Do it on anybody. You do it. But then what's the next thing? You need such and such. Oh, we're not members.
Well,
And I think it's government's role when necessary to leverage the money that they have.
yes, I definitely agree that you need to leverage the money you have, but when you don't have the money and we're in the situation that we're in, we have to come up with creative ideas. So I'm hearing on the floor right now, let's not increase our taxes. We don't want to increase our taxes. Our taxes are already high. So this is an opportunity. We have a 100th anniversary coming up to leverage momentum, the people that are coming to our community, and we have huge investments coming into our community as well. So there's an opportunity there. I can't speak, David, to 7 years out and what that council will do to set precedents on fundraising. I don't think that would be the case.
What would this come?
So, sorry,
What would this come?
on what?
Would you continue to say to the community, we need such and such for an event?
No, I don't think that's the underlying concern at all, is that we see that we have a need in our community. I am a strong believer of our library and the weight room facility. It's been a constant misuse of, space with the curling club. Like, we have to come up with a solution. And we saw the tax implications. We can't use our host dollars, and we have to come up with a solution. So tonight we're here to try and see and garner if we can activate in the community to come together and try and raise the funds for this. And does it have to be all the funds? No, but we have to have something that I would like to see it completely paid and have a reserve, because there's further dollars. That's my hope. Now, and do I think our community can do it? Damn right I do. I do. There's so many people in this town that love our community, and people that live beyond our community, and just even the people that don't even live here that just work with us within the community. Yeah, I think there's enough people out there that are generous and want to give you. It's a legacy opportunity for anyone that's ever lived in Hornepayne, or currently lives here, or is going to live.
Certainly hope you're right. But 3 out of 4 of your councillors have also committed to not doing new projects without that many people. So it's not that you're going to raise a little bit.
Yes, and I think David too, like I was cautious of that, and I did say that putting council on the spot at that time, because council, although we have each of our own opinions, we sit around the council table to make those discussions together. So I'm not sure what would be the outcome of that, of the discussion in the end. I am not in favor of going into debt for the arena, because we have other pressing issues that are going to come. And I've illustrated them for you. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
So add to that, to Dave, I speak for myself personally. We're a steward of your money, elected to fund the community on your behalf. And I'm one vote council, but I'm also one vote of the community. So myself, when I say something, I'm speaking from my heart, myself personally. There's things coming forward that we have a choice to do, there's things we don't have a choice to do. My biggest fear with the arena project is that we commit too much to it. Like Willie was doing, we have a severe issue with aging equipment, on and on and on. I see it's coming down the pipe. But at the end of the day, like we said earlier, and then everybody here, if the community wants it, we buy in. What our mayor is doing is trying to keep the cost down as much as possible. But if we could all, we are a group of people that if the town says we want this is what I ran on with the NWB mall. I would support, but if the community was against it, I'm going to support it. Same thing going forward. If the community as a whole we are a democracy, and the community as a whole says, no, we want to take the chance, we want to raise it last as we can. If money through donations and whatnot, then yes, we have to go ahead with it. And I will back up whatever the community decides. But we just need to know as a whole that if you buy this or you pay this and you can't, yeah, we can afford to buy into this. But when the fire truck and the fire hall, they said it was 1967, 1968, or the all the town hall was built. The town garage is falling down. There's so many things, and it's just not a matter of prioritizing. And I believe what our mayor is trying to say is, we'll do what we want, but we have to put all the best ideas forward. And I don't think it's us setting precedents. It would be a dangerous precedent to set. Going forward is not thinking long term. That's my biggest fears. I was thinking of it as business wise, and invest too heavy up front. Something else comes that's more pressing. Things that we don't have a choice to fire truck. But as far as I'm concerned, Toronto in 1 year uses what we'll do in 30 years, but because of stroke of the pen. In Toronto, with they change the rules. So those are things that we don't have a choice. If that makes any sense.
Very well.
I think fundraising has a, even if it's not $2 million, 750,000 million. Number two, talk about facilities. It's neglected, no one mentioned. The Curling Club facility is on its last, about 50 years old. There was no curling this past season. Season before, there was also like, in my humble opinion, it's a 300 registration plan, R22, because it's a facility. With the R22, you pay 100% higher than you did 10 years ago. So that plan has to be looked at. There's a lot of curlers that were not happy, and I spoke to numerous times. And I think that's the other facility that you look at. So there is more value. Again, I repeat myself. It's only $500,000 to raise, for $500,000 ahead of the game, that you could put it widely in some areas. You'll have to scrutinize more the plan of action for fundraising, the type of fundraising, where we're going to be heading, and really analyze. I think there's merit to it, David, I really do. But we have to really scrutinize which way with that.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much, David. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The management is a big part of it. And those are the staff behind the scenes are looking at what we can do, what we have, and how long that is going to last. In previous, not just here in Ontario, management was never always something available to be replaced. So that is gone. $3, $50. So after the management, basically we have to make the best choice with Councillor said, we are stewards of what taxes are, and we have to try to make the best decisions. And they're not always popular. Management going forward, something that we really need to be able to. Those are the choices and make the tough choices, but we still have to make sound choices.
Thank you, David. So, just before, go ahead.
I just kind of wanted to follow up on what David was saying and something that you said about getting creative. So getting creative with fundraising, for sure. I think one of the things that, whether it's you or whether it's that, it's like, let's be transparent, we're here for the taxpayers. And I'm just wondering where you're being creative with regards to looking at your departments, how money is spent, priorities. I'm really thankful to David for starting the page that he started, because as a busy person, I don't always have time to listen to council. I'm always really thankful when someone answers my question because I don't want to be ignorant either about what you guys are doing. I'm thankful for that. That keeps me kind of updated, but feeling the temperature of our community, and I've said this in some of the meetings that you guys have had online that I've had the opportunity to be a part of. I'm really saddened that I really think that our morale as a community has gone down. I think that the grants have been amazing, things are happening, but that balance between taxes and great things happening and other things happening, the morale kind of dipping. So do I think Hornepayne is amazing? Do I think we have support outside of Hornepayne? 100%. But that morale is a huge piece of that. You want people to buy in. You know, I think people need to buy in. So people need to feel that it's not maybe just being passed on. So I'm just wondering, where are you showing or where are you getting creative looking at your own budget? And I know there's been talk about travel and things. So where are you getting creative and prioritizing where things are done? That sort of thing. Because I think that would say a lot to the taxpayers in the community if they're seeing that's not just looking in one area or being passed on to other people.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely a lot of movement that's happened at the community. So on our July 19th, we're actually looking at our budget and financial controls policy. We're revamping it, and it's going to have a fulsome discussion on that. So when we did our SDR review back in 2020, we opted to incorporate the recommendations of the SDR. And some of that was to go to biannual reporting, which we did for 2 years without a policy in place to follow that through. In the past year and a half, we haven't had the reporting that we've needed, and we want to be able to see the projects through so that we have a fulsome understanding of like the airport. Is it completely wrapped up? Where is it at? What's the money there? How are we going to manage that into the future? Because that's a great learning tool for all of these other projects we're going to have. And that I sat down and I asked myself, like, how did I not see this? Like, how did I not see that we didn't? Why did it happen this way? And it was the time. It was basically what happened. Our community went into an emergency situation. We were trying to keep afloat with the COVID, and we implemented, we changed to this route, which didn't benefit us. So now we're looking back at it. And we just also updated our policy to make it so that it's easier on staff, easier on council, and also I have said in meetings, like next year, I will not be going to municipal conferences. I go to good roads that paid for outside of our municipality. And because we really have to find investors, and investors aren't at municipal conferences. So when we say about getting creative, we also implemented that one counselor and one staff are who go to conferences. And then if like this past year, none of us went to Rome. We didn't have a delegation at Roma. We didn't feel like there was any significant need for us to go to Rome. So we didn't go. Last year, we did this brand new FCM sustainable conference. We ended up 2 counselors went instead of, or 2 on council, myself and Councilor Sheneman, instead of a staffer, because we were looking at sustainable solutions. That's where we had met some people at FCM, the Green Municipal Fund. So it's strategic of why we're going. And then when people go, this past April, I filled in for Councilor for Noma, and because that makes those, what are people doing? Where's the fund? And it was really good to go to Noma. They just put out a regional northern strategic plan. So now we read that, and how do we fit into that for further fund? So yes, I think that there could be better things done at a budgeting level, and we're definitely moving forward with it.
So I just want to clarify, I didn't necessarily just mean the travel, because I do appreciate, I've seen, and you guys have talked, you know, when we go to this meeting, this is what we did. So I appreciate that. I do feel like I see, you know, obviously you're going there, you're doing something for the community. But I just mean in terms of prioritizing things within the community, even within departments. So, you know, I don't know how that works. Who makes the calls on this is a priority for us, this road is a priority, this is, you know, who, I just wonder about how all of that prioritization within the department level. And I just think, again, just feeling the temperature of the community and a lot of the talk that I've heard is concerns about that. And where time is being spent and perhaps mismanaged. So I wasn't necessarily talking about, but I'm just wondering if things like that, hours, overtime, where time is prioritized, has ever been looked at, and whether there are caps on those sorts of things, and maybe that's something that could be creatively looked at.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Amanda. So we have had conversations and there's more work to be done. So with this financial controls policy, each department would actually be submitting their budget and looking at it so that it's created more supportive. And I'm not saying that hasn't been done in the background. And it's and then we can work from that forward. And that's what we have in that financial budget controls policy. But sorry, can you just ask the second part of your question again?
No, that's great, because like I said, that is a lot of the temperature and feel that I have heard. You know, maybe that some departments are working harder than others, and that time is being prioritized or mismanaged in some areas. So I just wonder, maybe I don't know, like I said, we have ignorant of it, but I had asked, I think last year, if there was a plan. So for the Public Works Department, do they have a plan? These are our priorities. How many hours are allowed? We plow when it's this, you know, so I just feel like those kinds of things build community morale, because then they can say, hey, I don't mind paying a tax on this. My tax dollars are worth. I've worked at the town for enough years with some really great guys, and I was proud of what I did, and the people who saw us out cutting grass, working our butts off.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm starting to worry and starting to move. So I just, transparency, creativity within the own departments, I think is really nice to see. So if you're working on that plan and that's going to be communicated, I think that would be great.
Yeah, and I just want, so some of this will take up. We'll have discussions with more administrative.
Yeah, for sure. And I like I said, I just wanted to share that because I feel like that's been the temperature in the community for a minute. And I asked last year if there was a plan, and there's gonna be a plan.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of follow up and just.
Yeah, so there are now incorporated departmental work plans, and they're brought to council. And this year they'll actually feed into our budget. So they'll be created, then we'll look at our budget, and then to ensure that we're all on the same page, that council's on the page of what priorities we want to set for the year. And then, yes, so those are in. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Okay, any further questions? I do have a couple of announcements for you. And it's actually a nice segue into what Amanda was just asking about. So first of all, I just want to stop here. This is my cell number. You can put that into your phone, because I have people tell me all the time, oh, you must get all sorts of calls from people. They must be bugging you. Okay, first of all, a ratepayer never bugs me. And I've had heated discussions with people. You can make a meeting with me. That is my job, and I totally am open to it. And you can just text me, just make sure you tell me your name if you're not. The next one. So this is our website, the Township of Hornepayne. All of our information is on there. You can get updates with the calendar and the news page, and they'll come right to your inbox. Currently, we have 2 positions that are available in the general public recreation labor positions. And I just wanted to ask Eileen for the age, do you know the age for the applicant? It's 14. 15, okay. So the information for that is on the website, and these are very important jobs. Actually, Amanda alluded to them, is that it's the people who take care of our community. And we've been having difficulty getting students. So it's a challenge that we're seeing. So you're seeing the graphs getting high, like we have to figure out another, and we have had some creative discussion about that. But so there are 2 positions there. And for the website and apply, and please encourage your young people to apply. It's a great resume to have on your resume that you work for the township. And I will, as long as you've done a great job, of course, I've done stellar recommendation letters for people in the community as well. And we have one other general arena labor that's for the summers. And there's one position available. And you can go on the website. The other position that we have is for a labor cleaner in the municipality. And the last part I want to highlight is the Operations Advisory Committee. So I've said this before at meetings, we created 2 committees, the Community Development Advisory Committee, which is the CDAP, and UAC. And what this committee does is things like when we're talking about our roads and managing our roads, managing infrastructure, anything to do with operations. Amanda's question about getting creative in our budgets, if there's something better we can do. When you're looking at, you have 5 people that try and do their best with decision making, and then you have the staff to implement it. This is another avenue where people can get involved, and we do take this serious. Like, this is an advisory group, and then these they come back and bring recommendations to council for our consideration, or we can actually look into things like, one thing that I'm hopeful will be really great for our community is this new pothole patch that we're going to try. It's because potholes are being existent sometimes, but you can put it in the pothole when it's wet, because you can't fill potholes with the regular patch when it's wet. It doesn't work. It doesn't bind. Well, this stuff, it actually appears with, knock on wood, it works for us, but things like that you can discuss at those tables and then bring those advisory, like that would have been something that an advisory committee might have found out and then brought it to council. We ended up finding it out through the trade fair. And then actually now there's still documentation about that particular product online. So sometimes we don't have the or the people power to research everything. So that's a great opportunity, and it gives you a voice for advice right for our regular operations throughout our community. And we have 4 positions that are open. Okay, and then we have thank you for attending. So I don't want to close it down. If there's any further questions, and like I said, you can email the town. If someone would would you like to use any? Okay, so you can submit a request online, and you can submit it to info@hornepayne.ca for any further discussion. And it really, in the end, Hornepayne, like, we sit there meeting after meeting, and ultimately, I know that the 4 people I sit with care deeply about your community and deeply about your tax bill. And really, I truly believe we can do something with our arena. And I would love for you to talk about it to other community members and see what their appetite is. And the 1.2 million is actually the minimum goal. I went higher than that because I think we shoot higher and you land, you shoot for the moon, you land. above the. Go ahead. Did you come, sorry.
Nothing set up the reason that fabric. There's, what about the other?
Just put that beyond the GMO, so. Side of. Yeah, go ahead.
You gotta keep in mind, though, go ahead with the arena. That's all above and beyond. But one of the options that we do have that we're looking at is a plan that can service both the arena as well as the curling club. And the payback is around 9 years, 7 years, 5 to 7 years. To me, that looks like we're put something like that into rolling. Looking at it like a business, that's really an expense. So to me, that would be a no-brainer. Not because it would cost us say, for the first 5 to 7 years of operating it. And that's not like it's the arena and the curling club. I don't like it when people say that it's an expense, it's a service. And we've got to continue thinking about that. But I would like to see investment in that and going forward. I think that would be what it should be.
Does that answer your question? Yeah, they're doing some pretty amazing things with technology now. They're taking arena surfaces, curling club surfaces, and then using the heat capture, and they're feeding other parts of it. So there's some pretty good technology out there, and they do. There are some funding envelopes where they pay it back, and it's actually paid for your savings, your costs. So there are some creative.
Amanda, I'm just sorry. I just wanted to address your question or concern, I guess, about departments and how they're prioritizing items. And I do want to just advise everybody that, like Mayor Ford said, we have our departmental work plans, which we that information and the priorities are taken straight from the strategic plan, which again, that's council directed initiative, right? So we obviously, each department goes through their departmentals every year. We go through the budget department by department with the treasurer. That goes back to council. That's their priorities. Those are the things they need to focus on. But then there's also the daily priorities, emergencies, whatnot. So it is a struggle and there's always room for improvement. But I just wanted to speak to that because I don't want there to be any notions or ideas that there isn't a plan being followed or a process. We very much have a process, but it is a small team of 5 people who wear many different hats on a daily basis. And there are things that they're constantly struggling and juggling and dealing with. And I think we all try to do the best we can as staff while trying to implement council's decisions. Yeah, that's all I wanted to kind of say on that aspect. But like I said, there's always room for improvement, and I just wanted to.
Sorry for the last minute. Just with this meeting, if this project does not go through for the arena, my question is, what is your plan for the fitness facility to get their own place so we can have the. It's a great question. I think we'd have a full discussion. I think the whole mechanical is that we're going to get and we're going to figure out. Like, I don't know what the discussion in the community is going to be, and it can be stated like, do you want, to pay $88,000 a year, which is 4% tax increase for the next 30 years? Or do we want to try and generate momentum over 4 years and own the facility? And, you know, those are the types of things that broader than this room because it's more than just us. Right? And I feel your pain.
It just feels like it's always at our expense.
Yeah, and it's been unfair for too many years, and we have to have a solution, right? And we have an opportunity to have $4 million invested in our community, and at the bare minimum, 1.2 million. If we only put 100 pledges in it and did the rest of that, we can come up with 1.2 for our portion of the arena extension. And then that gives you back the credit as a first step. But I honestly think if we put it into place, that it'll be maybe more than what I even have on this.
And I sure hope that this is possible and can happen. However, what if, that's my question, and because it's just gone on way too long. Will there be a plan to put the curling club somewhere, the fitness facility somewhere else? Because now this could go on for another 10, 15 years, right? It's already been 14. So, I mean, it's always looking forward, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so,
My hope is that we are renovating our arena in 2026. And you will have your complete curling club back when we open. If we are allowed to have a 5-year construction loan on our, to get the initial loan, and you don't get penalized for paying that off. It's when you go into the long-term infrastructure Ontario loans that once you sign the dotted line for those, whatever the terms are. So there's leeway in that area. Yeah.
and sorry, one more question. For clarification, I believe you said you're going to have another meeting regarding this. When will your final decision on the Serena project? Whether you're going to go through with it or end it?
I'll do by the August. Like we've already got a scope change, like, and you see the money that we would have to pay back if we don't go forward with it. And hence why we're having this meeting tonight and get the community talking of what's available. And when you look at the slides, what we are needing for the arena project to go forward is just under $1.3 million. So when you look at the fundraising, if you take the pledges right out of it, there's opportunity to fundraise for it. Like if we lower it. But if we really want to make a facility into the future, we can shoot higher. If we don't meet those marks, then we don't meet them, but at least we've met our 1.3 and we can move forward with that. But council will have a further discussion. I think my suggestion would be after the 19th meeting, we'll let the town speak about it and talk about it, understand what we are all facing together, and then put a survey out after the 19th meeting and have that open for a few weeks so that we can discuss it again on July 12th, that meeting. And then I think the final decision will come in August, because ultimately, if we're going to do a 4-year plan for 2028, it should be launched this year. Like we want to launch it and have it, because it's easier to say if someone wants to pledge it at $25 a month. Well, it's easier to break that up and not wait another year and now it has to be 30. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no problem.
I might have missed it, I'm sorry.
That's
So
all right.
a yes, is just like a yes or no answer. I think I know the answer already, but is there a plan to fill if this whole the arena doesn't go through? Yes, there's a plan. No, there's not. Yes. No.
Well, no, because we've discussed that.
Thank you.
I just want to remind people that I treat people with utmost respect, and I expect the same. So I just want to further answer that question that we have had discussion. We have looked at moving the curling club into another facility at the arena, and we've got quotes on that of moving it. We have had this discussion several times, so my answer to that would be, if we did not move with the arena, I think it would be a quick move to something else. I'm not sure what council will come up with, but it has been something we've discussed at length many times, and we need to take action.
That was actually my question, if we could move the gym into the old part of the original spot in the arena. Would that be enough?
Yeah, we had looked into that, and I can't remember the reasoning of why we couldn't move it there. I will have to get back to you, Gina, on why not. Go ahead, Peter, do you remember?
The original thoughts or the thought process at the time was that engineers said it wasn't structurally possible. But then we found out later with further engineering reports it is, with an investment on our end to reinforce it. So yes, it could be done.
Okay.
Nice. Hey, I have been made aware of the fact that you have a treasurer right now at the township. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a treasurer who is also happens to be a tax collector, are you looking at outsourcing the collection of outstanding taxes to another organization? Or how do you intend to collect the 25% that is outstanding right now on tax?
Okay, this is, we have looked into an interim position for this again. Council will be having further discussion on how to minimize anything like this in the future. We don't, I have to be careful on what I say. So I just don't want people to get fearful that we're without a treasurer. We do have an employee treasurer in the municipality. And, go ahead.
So we do have a deputy treasurer who can still do the tax collection. So she is not everything that's just thrown off the wayside. And this is administrative and not actually part of this agenda, but we are looking into it and looking into possible solutions and whatnot. But at this time, we don't currently have a treasurer, but that will be options as needed on an as-needed basis. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Okay. You can hear me okay. Regarding the arena upstairs, I'll give you a quick history. 15 years ago, the present engineering that did the engineering study, it was flawed. 100% flawed. The council at that time agreed with the engineer, and I did not. Years later, another engineer came in and did a study on that and looked more thoroughly. There is a solution to the beams, high beams that are running underneath. They're 6 inches by 4 inches, whatever the length is. Worst case scenario, the arena does not get done, upgraded. The possibility is there to improve the upstairs facility and move the weight training equipment there. That is one of the solutions. If the arena project does not be advanced.
Thank you, Jonathan.
That's a great question too. I've always wanted to ask this question concerning taxes. We have that many people owing taxes in this community. Why can't we go through a collections agency?
I don't have the exact answer for that. My understanding is right now we've put in every course of action that we legally can to collect taxes.
Because I believe the town of Shallow does that.
Well, I will bring that back, Gina. I just don't have an answer. Okay, but we have that in there, and we will get a response, and we will put, I will, let the question be known at our June 19th meeting of the response. We'll capture for everyone, okay? I really don't know the answer to that. Okay, I'm just getting information from the CAO, just like the press on the 19th, we may have the information right away. Okay, if there's no further questions this evening, I want to thank everyone for coming. And there is coffee and there are treats back. I would encourage you, I'm going to stay for a bit. You're welcome to stay and chit chat and talk to your council. We're here for you. We just have a couple of housekeeping items just to close up the meeting officially. So if I can get a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory, please. Moved by Councillor Peter Kissinger, seconded by Councillor Kitchen. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2076 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at their special meeting held on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Be hereby read a first and second time and considered read a third time and passed. Those in favor? And that is carried. And the adjournment, moved by Councillor Dragon, seconded by Councillor Peter Kissinger. Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn the special meeting of council held on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 8:11 p.m. Those in favor? And that is carried. So thank you, everyone, and please stay and have a coffee and a treat and we'll